Also only the third shortest, a shade longer than Austria's Red Bull Ring. Hungary traditionally hosts the last race before Formula One takes its annual summer break. In 2020, however, due to a remodeled calendar in response to the global pandemic, Hungary took the third slot on the calendar in a jam-packed season. This circuit is often called the Dust Bowl, and with good reason. Surrounded by elevation on all sides and with dry dirt frequently thrown across the track, this place can be a slippery challenge for all drivers. In all the many decades of coming to the Hungary ring, the circuit has only seen one Hungarian driver start their home race. Northbound Gardner raced in both 2003 and 2004 races for Jordan and Menard.
Hello, Martin. Could you send me a invite to the lobby, please? Hey guys, it is Nedzo here, by the way. I'm just waiting to be able to get into the lobby. Oh, we're on lap 1 already. So I'm going to try and quickly get into the lobby and do some commentary. Okay, so I'm going to quickly load in, and we should be on lap 1 of 35 when I'm loaded in. We're coming up to turn 4, I think, on board with Kevin Van Dijk on lap 1, and we have a caution in sector 1, not sure what that's for, but we move towards who we're going to look at as we see there is, actually, one of the AlphaTauris is ghosted, so unfortunately we can't see what's happened to him. But it seems that Kevin Van Dijk is leading away as Fuzzy is out of the race in the Williams, which is unfortunate for him. Kevin and Han have stayed in position on the lead lap, but some of the guys behind them have moved up. Caesar is down 2 positions. Jix, who started in P3, is down to P15, and Remus, who started inside the top 6, is down at the back as well. So there's going to be some drivers trying to make their way through the pack, and it's a very tricky circuit to make their way back through the track, back through the pack at Hungary. I'll get my words out eventually, as Toto and Henry Racing squabble for positions. Kevin sets fastest lap on the opening lap of the race, and we'll see actually what tyres they're on. Kevin and Han are on mediums. Rajic behind is on the softs as James, who I've not seen before, goes for a move on Epic Gaming Mango, but it doesn't work for him. Even on the exit, he's going to try and maybe send a move into turn 2, but that doesn't look like it's going to fall off. It's going to pull off. It doesn't. Lausanne passes Don't Play 0 for 12th place, while Dwayne overtakes, or he's trying to battle with I'm Jerry, who was getting out of AI. The White Panther in the Red Bull is in the pits on the opening lap, must have had damage, so he's right back down the bottom of the pack. Don't Play 0 was battling with Ozan for a second there, and that's allowed NLC Racing to go up the inside in towards the chicane. You never usually see moves there, and you haven't even here because of how tricky it is. And it seems the Ferrari has just brake checked the Aston Martin, completely screwed him over. Jix trying to go around the outside of the S's. This never happens. And I don't think it's going to happen even now, unless Jix manages to send it around the outside. There's going to be contact, surely. They don't make contact somehow. But Jix is now fighting with NLC in 13th place as Toro and Snai are battling for the top 8 positions. And now NLC Racing stays ahead of Jix for a couple more corners, but Snai has spun. Snai has spun through the second to last corner, so he must have had contact in that battle for 8th place or 7th place then. Hans's fastest lap of the race as we're going towards lap 2, and we are seeing there's rain on the circuit. There is rain on the track. We are on slicks, but there is rain on the circuit. I don't know what these drivers are going to do, especially the ones at the front. I'll tell you who will be loving these conditions. Is Rajic. He's on the soft tyres. These tyres will work best in these tricky conditions, but he's struggling. He's nearly lost it off the exit of the chicane, so he's just about keeping it together. Kevin is pulling out a gap on Han, Caesar and Calmac have passed Epic Gaming Mango, NLC and Don't Play Zero are battling, and it is basically intermediate conditions. These drivers will be sliding around all over the shop. Toto passes Epic Gaming Mango, and they are going so slowly because they're just trying to keep the car in check. Surely everyone's into the pits at the end of lap 3. Zeros is disabled and everyone is in. They're all funneling their way into the pits. Oh, and that's Toro past Calmac into the pit lane. Very sneaky there from the McLaren man to move his way up into P6 and just behind his own teammate. As everyone funnels their way into the pit lane. Yellow flags in centre frame. I'm not sure exactly what's happened there. So may have spun off the last corner, and there's a safety car because someone, it's NLC, has hit the pit lane wall, and that has allowed everyone to just calm down and get in the safety car. This will allow the guys at the back to catch up, the likes of Sny and White Panther. Jix is onto the wets. Jix is onto the wets. He believes it's going to be wet enough for the full wet tyres during this race. That's really interesting. I wasn't expecting that one. NLC onto the Inters. And I think, yeah, Jix is the only guy currently on wet tyres. We'll see how that works out for him. Because if it does keep raining to the level that it did, we literally went from the first drops of rain to full intermediate conditions within a lap. So if the rain keeps coming down at the rate that it was, it will be full wet conditions by the end of the safety car period. And Jix is the only guy on the right tyres in that case. But is that the case? Because wet weather isn't as simple as what happened the last lap. It's constantly changing, constantly variable, especially in real life. Maybe not so much in sim racing because it is kind of gradual and there's like a progressive amount of rain. But Sny and White Panther haven't gone for wets, which is interesting. Obviously, they will have had more chance to consider which tyres to go on. So it seems Jix is the odd one out here. This will either work amazingly for him or terribly for him. Squirter is having problems with some of the other guys, and I'll see what will Jix come in at the end of this lap. We'll see if he comes in again. If he's decided actually, you know what, it's a mistake to be on these tyres, or will he stick with it? Because if he sticks with it, this will be incredibly brave. I think he's sticking with it. He doesn't look like he's coming into the pits, and he doesn't. He is sticking with it. So I assume safety car will probably be at the end of this lap because Sny and White Panther are catching up as quickly as they can, really, because it is tricky conditions in Hungary here. As I'm trying to get onto my phone. So yeah, we're just coming towards more of a safety car period. So yeah, we're just waiting for. Well, they're all coming through sector 1. White Panther is coming across the line, so he should be able to catch up. Also, guys, remember, if you are enjoying the content here, as I keep doing breaks because I'm quickly scoffing down some food while I can. Don't forget to like our stream and follow us on all of our socials. VD Racing League on Discord, on YouTube, on Instagram, on X, formerly known as Twitter, or even on TikTok if you want to see, I assume, some edits about some driver doing something amazing. Yeah, so follow us on all those platforms, and if you haven't already, if you have, then go and like and comment on all of the recent posts. But yeah, the safety car isn't in at the end of this lap because White Panther hasn't caught up yet, even though he is trying his best to. He's just about going to miss out. We're not going to get the safety car in this lap. which will be interesting. Squirter's still having issues with people around him. If I was one of these bag marker guys, I might consider just going into the pits. Squirter's left, so that's what's happening. He's had connection issues. Remus is letting him back through. This is really strange. If I was one of the bag marker guys, I'd just go screw it and go into the wet tyres in case they work, because Jix has stayed on them. But it seems to me like there's heavy rain. One thing I will do is check the standings actually, because I haven't seen it. Kevin is leading the championship, and I think he would still be leading the championship if it ended like this. Obviously, Jix, his title rival, right down the pack. Han would move up a bit if he was to win. Of course, we're at the Hungarian circuit, the Hungarian Grand Prix circuit. The first ever Grand Prix here was held in 1936, but the first F1 Grand Prix held here was in 1986. It was the first ever F1 race held behind the Iron Curtain, because obviously a lot of the Eastern Bloc countries used to not really have any connection with the outside world, but in 1986, Bernie Eccleston, after initially planning to have a race in Moscow in 1983, decided to come to Hungary instead. I mean, actually, there's a bit of history. The first ever Grand Prix winner in 1906 at the French Grand Prix was, in fact, a Hungarian man called Ferenc Skiz, I think his name was. I don't know how to pronounce Hungarian names, but moving away from a historical context, Han will lead us away from the safety car restart. The safety car will come into the pits at the end of lap 6. We will see how he can handle the pressure of the guys behind. Is he coming into the pits? He's coming into the pits. So Han will not lead us away from a restart. Kevin will instead. Many drivers into the pits. Some going in, I assume, for wet tyres is what they're doing. So Kevin will lead us away. Rajiv will come home in second. Caesar is challenging for second as we come down towards turn 1. Most are in for wet tyres. Jix was onto something. I said he was onto something. Snyers spun at the last corner, so that's another problem for him. Squirter's joined back. Caesar's up into second place. Rajiv takes third. Ozan down to P4. Well, he's up into P4 because everyone else has come in for wet tyres. Unbelievable scenes here as Jix moves up into P6. Is he just going to dance around everyone else while they struggle on these tyres? I think the answer is yes. We'll see how the guys like Han will catch up to the back of the pack. Henry is battling with Remus. That was never going to work into turn 4. That's a very tricky corner to go side by side in the best of times, never mind in the wet. As Remus says, I assume he's in AI now. Just trying to get around the corners. As Jix is now up into 5th. He's skating past these drivers now. He's gaining. The wets are definitely faster. So I think it was definitely a wise idea for these guys to cut their losses and come into the pits and lose all that track position, but gain it all back, because I assume everyone else is going to come in for inters. Kevin, I think, has screwed himself here. Caesar as well, Radrick as well. Obviously, the guys at the front who were at the front, some of them cut their losses and came in anyway. Some of them chose not to. Yellow flags in sector 2. One of the Hasses, I think that Squirter's gone off. They're now all coming into the pits. Caesar rear locking himself into the pits. Kevin has stayed out. What is he doing? He doesn't think that it's wet enough to come in for these tyres. You always want to be on the right tyre at the right time. Because at the end of the day, he could lose like seconds a lap by being on the wrong tyre. So by like 7 laps time, there will be no point of him staying out because of the time loss. So Jix has moved up into P2. Jerry has stayed out as well. White Panther, has stayed out. Han has obviously one of the guys who cut his losses has made it back up into 5th place. James in P6. Caesar is the highest running guy who's just pit on that last lap. Now we only have 3 guys on intermediates. And how much is Jix gaining? We'll check. I think he's gained about half a second on this lap alone. So those wets are definitely quicker. Because Jix and Kevin are similar level of drivers. and that gap is just closing a tenth every corner. Henry Royale has crashed, and that's a safety car. So Kevin will get a free pit stop. The AlphaTauri driver has crashed, and that has meant that Kevin has just been given a lifeline. Not sure exactly what happened to Henry there, but it's kind of a bit of a problem. I mean, I don't know, are Red Bull and AlphaTauri linked in this league? If they are, then that could be, you could have a race fixing case if you're one of the other drivers, but I'm not accusing Kevin or any of the Red Bull guys of doing that. I'm just saying that it is a little bit convenient. Jix is in as well. So he's just putting on a brand new set of tyres. Jerry in, White Panther in. They're going to gain loads of positions from this. Oh, I think they might anyway, especially if these guys... Han has stayed, obviously the guys who are on brand new wets, they're not going to have any reason to come into the pits. I don't know why Jix has come in, to be fair. He might not come out in second here. No, he will. Jerry and White Panther will probably come out about in the middle of the pack here, around about 11th or 12th, which is a higher position than they were. So everyone is on the wet tyres now. They do come out in about 11th or 12th, I was right. They fell out in that pocket just ahead of Don't Play Zero. Lap 9 of 35 here. We're just under a third of the way through this event, and a lot of action has already happened here. Kevin is back in the lead, or he was in the lead for the entire lot of the race really, but he's consolidated that lead with the safety car that was brought out by Henry Royal crashing on the exit of turn 3. I'm going to quickly get another snack as we wait for the safety car restart, so I'll quickly go mute for a second, but I think we should just go on board with Kevin for the safety car. Hey guys, I'm back. But yeah, we're here at the Hungarian circuit, Hungarian Grand Prix, at the Hungaroring. This is one of the longest standing races that hasn't really been off the calendar for a while now. Obviously, I don't think it hosted, it did host a race in 2020, during the COVID pandemic. But obviously, since it's actually been on the calendar, most people don't know this, Hungary has been on the calendar longer than the Japanese Grand Prix at Suzuka. The Suzuka race first was on the calendar in 1987, and Hungary was on in 1986. I think it's in the top 10 most, one of the top 10 longest serving Grand Prix in F1 history, in terms of pure races held, and in terms of ones that are still on the calendar, probably just about creeping into the top 6 or 7. Because I don't think it has missed a year since 1986. The track's gone through a few moderations since 1986. Obviously, through turn 3, which is the right-hander after the turn 2 hairpin, that used to be a chicane because they were initially just going to go where turn 3 nowadays is, but they realised there was like a natural spring where turn 3 was supposed to be going, so they couldn't just put tarmac over a natural spring, so they diverted a chicane around it for a couple of years, and then they diverted the spring and then put the track where it was supposed to be. And also, the bit we're coming up to now, this is obviously, we've got through the fast right-hander, then we're going to come into a sharp right-hander. This used to be able to turn right here, and then into a little left, and then into another right. But they changed it because they were trying to make another overtaking zone. But safety car is in this lap. Jix and Han are right behind Kevin here, and the two Mercedes boys could definitely work together as there's a bit of change in positions happening further down the field. We'll see if Kevin can pull away from the two Mercedes boys behind him. Lap 10 of 35 here in Hungary. Don't go anywhere because this is going to be entertaining. We've got a wet race on our hands, and it will be entertaining. Coming out of the final corner, and Kevin does get away well off the restart. Han has fallen back, and he's losing the back end, and that's going to plummet him down the order. He's going to go out to 5th or 6th here as Cesord, and as James has, I don't know what's happening to him, he's also fallen down the pack. I'm not sure if him and Han had contact, but now James is down the pack. Han's managed to keep him P4, but now Jits hasn't got the help of his teammate behind. Cesord is holding up Han nicely as they skate around these tricky, tight corners as Devane is into the pits, and Devane has retired from the session. Unfortunately for him, it seems like he was just fed up a bit. I think he was on the wrong tyres as well. As Toto is trying to battle with Epic Gaming Mango here around the outside of the long right-hander. I thought that was going to work for him. It didn't eventually. That would have been an amazing move if he pulled it off. Ozan now trying to battle with Rajic, but Rajic does his magic and keeps him behind. They're struggling to get any sort of momentum here because it's so awkward to try moves in his middle sector. You just hold up everyone else behind you as Cesord losing the back end there, and Han slips through. But now Cesord's going to try and go back up the inside into the sharp right-hander at the end of the short straight, but he doesn't. He decides to back out of that one. Han goes a little bit wide, but I think we're going to see some more battling between those two as Cesord's teammate Toro moves past Epic Gaming Mango into 9th place. Cesord now has James on his outside. He's going to try and send it. If I was James, I'd try the switch back, and I think that's what he's trying to do off the exit because Cesord doesn't get the best exit. On the power goes James with the ERS deployed. He's got Cesord on his left. He's trying to close him right down to the edge of the circuit, and he's going to try and beat him on the brakes into turn 1. Han is struggling. We can see in front. He is sliding about, and Cesord has spun it. I'm not sure if there was contact between him and James. We didn't see it on James's POV, or I didn't see it on James's POV, but there might have been contact as Cesord's teammate Toro goes up his inside. If I was Cesord, I wouldn't really battle that, especially if he does have damage, which he may do. As now Toro has gone wide, and that's allowed Cesord back through. That's going to be a bit of a dilemma between the McLaren boys. But they are letting each other be a bit more convenient, as now White Palmer around the outside of IMG. The Red Bull around the outside of the AlphaTauri, sister cars, but they are letting each other through and being courteous to each other. As Jerry gets overtaken by Don't Play Zero for good measure as well. And now he's getting overtaken by the Aston Martin of NLC. They're just funneling through because he can't get any sort of momentum. That's what happens when you see it in esports racing, where a driver gets passed by one car and then he just can't get back on the racing line, so he gets passed by another, and then another, and then another, and down 5 positions. As Henry Royal has left the session, but Toto back at the inside of Cesord. These two are now battling for position. They're not letting each other through like they were before. This is not going to help. This is not going to help their cause in this race. They need to work together rather than work against each other. As they are, some of them are getting close to dropping it off the exit of these corners. It is very wet, very treacherous conditions. As White Panther overtakes Epic Gaming Mango, and Jerry gets passed by Remus. Down like 5 positions on this lap. Not a good lap for Jerry. So, who are the big gainers in this early phase of the race? Kevin is still in first place from obviously on pole position he was, and he's still in first. Jix moves past Han. He started third, he's now second. Han started second, he's now third. James is up 4 positions. Don't Play Zero just left the session. Rajic has stayed where he is. Ozan and Kalmak, the 2 Alpha drivers, have gained 10 positions between themselves. Good job for them. So they started outside the top 10, the both of them, but they managed to move into the top 7. Toro up 12 positions. Cesord is down 5, so not a good job from him. White Panthers stayed the same. Epic Gaming Mango's lost a couple. NLC and Don't Play Zero up a couple. Remus is losing out from his qualifying position, but he's now trying to make amends from that by overtaking his teammate who's in AI. As Cesord gets another position loss, but he's now trying to battle with White Panther as James and Han are battling for P3. I think we should go into that battle because it's more important as Rajic gets past Han because Han has disconnected. Han has disconnected from the session. The Mercedes man has disconnected. Unfortunately for him, lots of drivers are leaving. I'm not sure what's happening to them. Hanny's getting overtaken by the AI, by other drivers because the AI doesn't know how to deal with them. As now, Toto has just barged through on Calmac, but he's let him back through because he's realised how egregious that move was. So Taro back down to 8th position. He's got to try and have another go at that one. As Rajic is now right behind James in 3rd place. I'm not sure, he's not going to make a move there. Lots of drivers have a lot of ERS in the bank. As Calmac is passing Han. Yep, Han is just plummeting down the field with that AI. His AI is not helping him at all, if I'm being honest. It's ruining his race. Caesar gets passed by Epic Gaming Mango. As NLC has just lost it off over the grass. He goes, just about keeps it out of the wall, but he does lose the position to Remus there. Yellow flags in centre 3, and Epic Gaming Mango is out. He has caused a safety car here. He's gone straight into the wall. I'm not sure if he just slid off of the tight right-hander, but he is in the wall and he is out. Toto is into the pits. Calmac gets a drive-through for speeding in the safety car. That's a problem for him. But some drivers into the pits, I'm not sure why they would be. Toto might be coming in for damage from one of his early escapades. But no, he's in for... It's Inters. No, it's not Inters. They're just coming in for a replenishment of the wet tyres. Some of these drivers who are outside the points or in the lower points. They have nothing to lose by coming in, putting on a fresh set of tyres and seeing what they can do. Or they could potentially go to the end if this rain doesn't stop. So Jigs, after falling down the pack right at the start, he's now back up there in P2 and he's going to challenge Kevin for the lead off this restart. Toto is up from last position up into 11th and he's on brand new tyres, so watch out for him. He will be quick. He's the highest placed guy who has changed his tyres. Remus also, he is quite competent. Caesar also look out for him. Yeah, even in the safety car conditions, people are getting huge snaps at the rear end. It proves just how treacherous these conditions are, especially when you have no assists or limited assists. I doubt these leaders are going to come in because they'll lose track position otherwise. They'll just try and pit under green flag later because I know Kevin and Jix pulled out a 10-second lead to the car behind, so they can afford to come in later on and not lose as much time. None of the leading pack are coming in. So Toro will be rubbing his hands together. As Ozan, as I was saying, Ozan and Calmac were doing a great job, but this safety car has meant that Ozan has a 3-second time penalty on this little track limits. And Calmac has a drive-through for speeding under VSC, so that's going to come under a safety car. That's going to completely ruin his chances of a good result here, unless we get another safety car after he's served his drive-through, which is not impossible, considering we've already had 3 interruptions of this race. But yeah, as I said earlier, if you haven't already followed the social medias of the league, you have a break now, so go and do it immediately. Otherwise, it means that you hate everyone in the league and you hope they all die. But yeah, we're on lap 16 of 35, coming up to halfway through this race, and it is very good. So we are coming on towards. Well, I don't think we're going to get a restart of this lap because these guys are well far behind. Unless Sny can pull out an Ayrton Senna performance in the wet and catch up, but there's no need for him to when he's spun it. And he resets the track. Yeah, Sny's not having the best of races here. And that's to say the least. Yeah, he's definitely not going to be proud of himself with this one. So yeah, we're still in the safety car here. We're just letting all the guys funnel through. And did Calmac just pit? Thinking he was going to serve his drive-through, not realising you can't serve drive-throughs under a safety car. What a stupid idiot. Hanna and Toro just changed positions. Yep, Calmac, yeah, he had a bit of a stupid moment there. And now we should get, yep, we do get a safety car in this lap as Sny is catching up. But he is getting limited because of that stupid limiter the game puts on. Kevin should let him. I don't know why he's braking unless he's in AI. Yeah, he's in AI. If he wasn't in AI, he'd be able to catch up to the safety car. This is why I say never go AI on the car. And now we come through the final corner. Kevin has a smooth restart. Jigs is waiting a little bit, and James was doing so as well, but Rajic hasn't managed to capitalise on that. In fact, he might be able to as he comes down towards turn one. He doesn't go for the move though. No aggressive dives just yet. I think you'd be stupid to in these conditions. You can hardly see in front of you, never mind. You can see what the other guy's going to do. You can't even see 50 feet in front of you, so it would be stupid to send a move in conditions like these. As now Ozan is catching on Rajic. That could be an interesting battle to have between these two. We are more than halfway through this race. But in terms of action, we're not halfway done. I guarantee there's going to be a mammoth battle for the lead here. Even though Jix doesn't have DRS, I have a feeling he's going to try and get past Kevin at some point. He doesn't have the best exit off of that corner though. He's now going to let Kevin pull a little bit of a gap on him. Han goes past White Panther. White Panther is holding up a bit of a mobile. He's a bit of a mobile chicane here. Toro just behind. Remus just behind. That could easily cause a bottleneck and possibly another safety car if we have another accident. Sny overtakes Squirter for the wooden spoon that is last place. Toto at the inside of White Panther, and he nearly goes straight into the back of Han, but he just completely missed his braking point. And Remus is going to go past him. Remus is, look at him, he's trying, Toro barges Remus out of the way. His name means bull in Spanish, but he's bullying all of the drivers on the track. Unbelievable stuff from Toro here. And Jigs has fallen off the back of Kevin because of, I don't know what reason. But Toro is back up into 7th because he's just blown up White Panther without any remorse as Calmac is into the pits to serve his drive-through. He needs a safety car again, which isn't considering some of the interesting moves we've seen some drivers make. wouldn't go past me, exactly. As Rajic is all over the back end of James, who's already 3 seconds down on Jix and Kevin. Because although Jix is not as close to Kevin as he wants to be, he is absolutely pulling a country mile of a gap on the guys behind. James is struggling in these conditions, and he's not really causing a bottleneck per se, but he's just got a train of cars behind him who are just a little bit quicker than him. He's not like they're masses quicker, but they are just a little bit quicker as Han loses the back end there. You need to be smooth and not aggressive in these conditions, because it's much better to be smooth and maybe lose out on maybe a 10-42 performance than be aggressive and drop it off the exit of one of these corners and retire. Just to say that, is that Toro going through again? You know, it's not his hand. Oh my god, this is a massive cluster of cars. 2x2 going through the second to last corner. Toro gets barged out by Remus there. I think that's a bit of revenge from Remus, and it's completely fair. And Toro will be inside of the Alfa Romeo and of Ozan, and goes Toro as well, goes through. So Ozan is down from 5th to 8th, and now Toro and Remus go into the wall because they're too busy trying to sort out their own grudges and grievances, and they've ruined both of their own races by being idiots. Well done, you two. We'll have to have a look at that incident after the race and see exactly who was at fault there. But from my perspective, it looks like I don't know what happened. I don't know if Remus came across. I don't know if Toro turned into him. I'm not going to make any comment on that just yet. Toro is limping his way back to the pits. So is Remus. But what that's done is he's just lost in tons of positions because they're too busy fighting with each other rather than having common sense and making their way through. Ridiculous. Jerry is trying to go past Remus now, but I don't think he's going to send a stupid move there because he is sensible, unlike Remus and Toro. As Toro cuts the corner, he's now going alongside NLC but doesn't want the battle. Ozan and Cesar battling. As Toro gets a 3-second time penalty. I assume he struggled to navigate some of these corners. And we are around about 2/3 of the way through this race. That's not an exact science, but as Ozan has gone off. Oh, Ozan has properly gone off. He's lost his front wing there. Not sure if he got hit off there, but he has lost his front wing. I didn't see the incident. As Rajic and Han move or change positions because Rajic is in the pits. Rajic, I assume, is he coming in for brand new wets just because his are quite old? He's trying to get the undercut, I think, here. Which is not a bad idea. He's going on to brand new wet, so he thinks it's not going to dry up before the end of the race. Lots of other drivers are following him in. Ozan is one of them, and Toro is another. So Toro, Ozan, and Rajic are all in the pits. They could try and gain some positions here as Squirter and Don't Play Zero battling for what is at the moment the last points position. Don't Play Zero now coming in towards turn 2, and Squirter just turns in on him. Leaves him no space. In the wet, you've always got to leave space in the wet. I'm sorry, but it's hard to leave space when you're trying to be as close as that in dry conditions, the best of times. But in the wet, you've got to leave a little bit more room, and Han has gone off. Han has gone off on the exits of turn 5, and he's trying to get back on the circuit before the turn 6 and 7 chicane. Takes out the 150 board, but I don't think he's going to care about that. He's down outside the points positions now, and that's going to allow a lot more drivers to get into high positions. And Jix is now back in the battle with Kevin. If I was Jix, I'd have gone for an undercut. Because you've got to try something to get past someone who's been better than you the entire race. Unless Jix thinks he isn't better than him right now, and he thinks he's faster. As Kalmak and Squirter battle into the last sector, and Squirter goes off there. That could leave him vulnerable to the cars behind us. Panther lags behind Rajic and his own teammate. They're going 3 wide nearly, as I think Squirter might come in here. He's not. He's going to just let his teammate through and try and awkwardly stay in tow. Caesar's also still right behind James, who's been holding up this train to 3rd place. Remember when I said how the leaders wouldn't have to worry much about changing onto the new wet tyres because they could easily, or changing onto new tyres because they could easily pull a gap. That gap is now 13 seconds. They pulled out such a big gap to the cars behind as Squirter and White Panther battle into turn 3. This is not going to end well, I can guarantee you. No, it doesn't. There's no crashing. Everyone else should take some tips from them. Not about actual pace, but about driving cleanly. I'm going to quickly just check how quickly, like what lap times James is setting. He's in the 37s. The guys in front of him are on the 34s. This is pitiful. How can you be that slow? Jix is right behind Kevin, and Cesar is right behind James, and now James' teammate NLC is also right behind. As Cesar locks up into the second to last corner and just about keeps the car on circuit. If you're one of these front guys, surely you're coming into the pits, unless they think it is going to dry up a little bit, or possibly even dries before the end of the. Cesar's, I think, had enough. He's trying to get him a slipstream with James, but it's just not enough because he hasn't got the DRS, unless he goes for the dive, which he does. He's up the inside of James into turn 1. Will he get this move? So will he make it stick? He does make it stick. Incredible move from the McLaren, and that's James has spun. He's just spat himself off the track, and that's a safety car. James loses the back end off of turn 2. Oh, sorry, off of turn 1, and into the wall he goes. He's left the session. He is furious. He had that podium position in the bag, lost the podium position, and then just got a little bit too cocky on the throttle. And he's out. This now means that all the drivers who haven't pit yet can easily come in. We're not going to see any strategy involved with undercuts or overcuts. And anyone who's considering pitting is going to be absolutely relieved that they didn't, because they'd have lost so much time. As Don't Play Zero gets a drive through for speeding under safety car. And I'm pretty much certain that every single driver here, apart from maybe Rajic, is going to come in. And even Rajic would gain from this. He might gain a bit of track position if he doesn't come in, but we'll see. As yep, Kevin and Jix into the pit lane. There's no doubt about that one. I assume they'll both be going in for wet tyres. I don't think there are still puddles on the circuit, so I doubt we'll be ever going on. Well, I doubt we'll be going on to intermediate tyres anytime soon. As Kevin has left, Kevin has disconnected. I assume he'll get invited back, but Kevin is disconnected. If he doesn't get back in before the restart, he could be screwed. Thank goodness that it's under safety car and not under real proper racing conditions. Everyone behind is in the pits. Sny, though, has stayed out. He wants to gain a few positions. Cheeky Sny there. Into P3 he goes. Kalmak has stayed out. Rajic, I assume, will stay out. He does stay out. So Rajic up into the top 6 now. Oh, why is he slowing down? If he'd have tried to accelerate and get ahead of NLC, he could have made it there. He's trying to be too nice. You can't be nice in modern Formula 1. Han is disconnected. I'm not sure what that reason is for. But yeah. The only guy who hasn't pitted is Han, and he's on 17 lap old wets. Yeah. Something tells me his AI doesn't like him much. Sny, other than that, Sny and Kalmak are on oldish tyres. On 9 and 7 laps old. I don't think Sny will make it to the end. Unless he's absolutely amazingly good on those tyres. And I don't think he'll keep that position anyway. Because people will just filter past him. As Martin is in my DM saying, EA is cooking with disconnections. He absolutely is. We want to see these drivers get back in, especially Kevin, because we want to see the battle between him and Jix. Luckily, because of his and Jix's ruthless pace, the entire pack has been so spread out, so it's going to take ages for the pack to catch up. And so we're going to be going for another couple of laps here on the safety car, which will give Kevin another few minutes to get back in, as Remus gets a 3-second time penalty under safety car because they're trying to catch up so quickly. There's no need to try and catch up though, because it's not going to come in anytime soon. Because there's only like 7 cars who are in this front train. Even Han hasn't caught up, and he was sort of in touch with the pack for the first like bit of a race. I'm going to see if I can send the invites out, if I have any people as friends. NLC's still in. I've got Martin as a friend. But no, I don't think... Yeah, I don't have anyone else as EA friend, so I can't make any help on that front, but I tried. Yeah, as I said earlier, but just remember, if your Snai is dropping back, I'm not sure exactly what Snai's AI is cooking, but it's not something. This is why you don't go AI under safety car. People have this obsession with going AI under safety car because they can't be asked to just drive their car, and they don't realise that it fucks over people like Rajic, who's got a yellow time penalty for ignoring yellow flags because people around him are in AI. And look at this, it's just causing bottlenecks. We should introduce a rule that you can't go AI under safety car because it does just produce stupid moments like these. Just because you can't be asked to just sit behind a safety car and do about 2 miles an hour for 2 laps doesn't mean that everyone else should suffer because of it. And that's my rant over. But Kevin is back in the session. Hopefully he'll be able to get back in the car before the restart. As Snai drops down to P10. Look at this. He's under AI and he's just dropping positions. He was in P3. Look, oh, he's lagging rather than dropping it. Oh, he's lagging, that's what it is. And it's causing mass confusion. Safety car in this lap. What an idiot. Caused so much confusion by being in AI and having lag spikes. Let's go back on board with Kevin though. He will lead Jix away from the restart. Calmac will be in P3. Trying to recover from an early drive-through. Don't Play Zero will have another driver. He's got to serve. And Kevin, I think, has gone. Kevin has gone, but Jix has not let him go. Just keep it smooth off his restart, and he has done just about. Jix has a chance of getting the win here if he can just focus on getting a move done. Jix is gaining going into turn 1, but there's not going to be any moves. It's Jerry passes Han. Not sure what the yellow flag is for. I think one of the guys at the back has spun. It's Snai who's spun again. Han is losing positions as Snai gets disqualified for driving the wrong way. That's unfortunate for him. I doubt that he was actually driving the wrong way. Toto and White Panther battling through turns, coming up to turn 2. White Panther trying to go around the outside. Will he make it work? No, he doesn't. And that's going to allow Don't Play Zero to try and make a move potentially. Kevin has still got Jix right behind him. They've already pulled out a 2-second gap on Calmac, as Calmac is holding a little bit of a train behind him himself, to be fair. Remus is quite far behind as well. But it seems that Kevin and Jix are just right at the top of that performance chart. Toto and Han's fallen back because of AR, because he's in AR. Toto gains positions. And Jix is about half a second behind Kevin. He's keeping with him-ish. But he'll be wishing to have some sort of advantage. He does have, I think, better straight line speed, which doesn't help in the corners. As you can see, Jix is constantly losing the back end. He's just kicking the rear end out, and it's causing him to lose out through the corners. But on the straight, he is zooming. I mean, even with ERS, even without ERS, he was zooming on the straights without the ERS advantage. As Caesar overtakes Calmac into turn 1, but Calmac might try and get him back here on the exit. He will do, but he understeers wide. That's a typical move you see at turn 1 there, because people just don't underestimate, or they underestimate how much the car washes wide when you're trying to go through this bit. As the NLC tries to get past Calmac, and I think they made contact through the first part, and they made contact through the second part, because Calmac doesn't know how to give people room, and it's fucked over NLC massively here, and it's another safety. I think Calmac turned in on him through turn 2, and then again just expected him to back out into turn 3, and he was never going to. Another safety car here, as NLC has no front wing. He's going to trundle back to the pits, and hopefully for his sake get some new stuff on his car. So it's been a slightly attritional race today. 7 cars out. We have 7 laps remaining at the end of this one. Actually, no, we have 8 laps remaining at the end of this one. Because you do have to complete the final lap. And we might see, actually, we'll check tyre life. I'll check tyre life. We might see some pit stops. Maybe for the likes of Squirter. I mean, Calmac is already out, so he doesn't need to worry about that. Sny also, I mean, not Sny, who was the other guy who stayed out on older tyres? I can't remember who it was. Or at least if they have. Or if they did stay out, they've now pit again. So they don't have those on. But Kevin has stayed out, but the guys behind are coming in. The likes of Rajic, the likes of Remus, the likes of Remus has stayed out actually, but the likes of NLC, they're all coming in. This is unusual. Toro will now make his way into the top 5. I'm not sure how much a new wet tyre will change. As NLC's onto the Inters. Inter's now faster. Is that why they're doing this? This could get interesting. I mean, the track doesn't look like it's ready for Inters. But whether that's the case or not will remain to be seen. There's still standing water on the track. So I don't know why these guys are going on to intermediates. Squirter's in. What's the logic? There's no way it's ready for intermediate tyres. There's standing water on the circuit and it's hammering down. Jerry's losing a lot of time. Admittedly, it is Jerry, and Jerry is the greatest of drivers, but he's losing a ton of time to the cars in front as he catches up to the safety car. I know he's not the most accurate of measures of how quick someone is. As Squirter goes on to some scrubbed wet tyres, so he thinks it's not ready for intermediates. But it seems, we'll see what they do, unless Jerry and NLC accidentally went onto intermediates. Which is, I don't think that will be the case. We'll see how they... We'll see how they kind of do this, because it is very strange. Magic is stuck behind Jerry. We'll see what they do. Is Jerry going to come into the pits and change back off of those inters onto some wets? No, he stays out. So this wasn't accidental. Are they just going, screw it, I'm outside the points, or I'm right at the bottom of the points, I've got to try something to try and gain my position? I mean, congrats to them, because if they manage to pull this off and get some really good result, if it does just dry up in these next couple of laps, which I don't think it will, if it does dry up, they've got a good chance at some good points here. Squirter isn't really catching up that well. He is 20 seconds behind, which means I don't think we're going to see safety car at the end of this lap. It'll probably be at the end of the next lap. He's not come in to the pits for a new set of tyres, luckily, so we might see, it depends on if he can get a motor on and not spin, we might see safety car in at the end of lap 29. We might have a 6-lap dash to the end. Actually, I don't think we get. I don't think we're going to see him catch up this lap, which is unfortunate. Unless the safety car just randomly slows down. Yeah, it's going to be the next lap. Which does give a chance for some people, if they want to risk it on inters, they could do so. And that could produce a very interesting end to this race. I doubt any of the leaders will, because that would be way too risky. But someone behind, like an Ozan, could definitely go for it. But they're not. This is really interesting. And all this safety car will do is it will make it So it's coming towards the... I don't think it is drying up here. The rain looks just as bad as it was a couple of laps ago. So I don't see why they've come in. It's completely nonsensical to me. Like, the track itself is a little bit... like, it's a lot less covered in rain. But that's because more people have run on it. I don't think that's because it's drier. I think it's because more people have run across the surface of the track and cleared it more to the sides of the track than to the actual track itself. I still think it's for wet conditions. But we'll see what happens off a restart. If I Am Jerry starts overtaking left, right and centre, you'll know it's time for intermediates. I mean, obviously, I think if Inters do come to fruition, I think NLC is the biggest shot for the race win, because I don't think Jerry is really that good a driver. But we're on at lap 30. We're going to have a 5-lap dash at the end of this race to see who will win. Kevin and Jix have been battling the entire way through. It's been a battle for the ages, if I'm being honest. Even though there's not been much on-track kind of side-by-side action, I do think that we can potentially see some interesting action. As safety car is in this lap. Kevin backing the pack up. And we'll see when he goes off of this start. Han and Squirt having problems. As C's orders left, that's unfortunate for him. From third place, he will no longer be able to compete. And coming round the final corner, Kevin was a bit wayward, and that could allow Jix to finally get a move done. But Kevin gets a good exit off of the corner, and Remus is now up into P4. Don't Play Zero has come in because he thinks it's time for Inters. But I think we could see some interesting battles going on in this race. Toto passes Czord. Obviously, Czord is getting completely fisted, basically, by everyone behind him. I Am Jerry isn't exactly moving up the pack. NLC has passed Squirter. Don't Play Zero has come in for brand new wets. Or not brand new wets, old wets. So that must have been some sort of damage for him. Jerry doesn't look that quick. Neither does NLC. I don't think it is time for Inters. I don't think that gamble has worked for them. As Rajic was trying to pass Ozan. If I was NLC, I'd be trying to get past Jerry as quickly as possible. Because you want to put cars in between you and the guys behind. Because NLC is a lot smoother than Jerry has been. He's a lot quicker than Jerry has been. And Jerry is struggling on those tyres, which are clearly the wrong tyres. NLC has to be careful about this. He can't just send a dive in the S's. He can maybe send a dive in the sharp right-hander. But yeah, difficult situation to be in as Rajic has left. Rajic has had a disconnect problem as well. This race is going to be defined not just by the wet weather, but it's going to be defined by these disconnects. People keep losing out because of disconnects. Czord has lost out. Rajic has now lost out. As Don't Play Zero gets disqualified for not serving a drive-through. That's insane. He was right at the back anyway, so it didn't matter. But, oh, that's a shame for him as Toto is battling with Remus into turn 1. Round the outside, he's going to try and stick it. He goes completely off the circuit. Get back on the circuit, you fat gimp. There's no way he can think that's legal. As we come back on towards the track, Toto now back up the inside into turn 2. He's bumping and barging him, pushes him right to go to the circuit and goes through then. And now Czord has got back in, I think. He's got back into the session, and now he's trying to battle with White Panther, who's up in 5th. As NLC passes the AI of Rajic. Don't get your hopes up. I don't think that means that the Inters are now faster. Although Jerry is now catching up to Ozan. And this whole pack is catching up to this whole pack. This could get interesting. It is admittedly being led by what is Toro, and he's really holding them up. So this could get very interesting very quickly. Because if you're one of the guys at the back of this pack, you've got third place sitting about 4 seconds in front of you. And if Jerry gets a bold move on someone like Ozan, he could definitely make it work. Could he go from moving to the second to last? No. NLC is going to be completely annoyed that he's got Jerry in front of him on the same tyres as him. Can't show his true potential. Look, Toro has lost 6 seconds to the guys in front. As Ozan, sorry, is that Rima? That's Ozan, yeah, making a mistake and letting both NLC. What is he doing? He's coming back across the track in front of NLC like he's not there. Use your eyes, man. As now NLC tries to go around the outside of him and spins into the side. That's NLC gone and he's round. Just puts on the throttle a little bit too early. And that was a shame for him because he had a chance to get a good result here. Now the Inter runners are depending on Jerry. That's not really the best person you want to depend on in a VD race. But he can still pull out a good performance here. Because part of being a good driver is picking the right tyres. And he's got a McLaren right in front of him who's just managed to recover from a mistake in front of him. And he's got another one. He needs to be careful because if someone spins in front of him, it's going to be a struggle for him to be able to think. Now, the other thing is, I think Inters are definitely point. I don't think we've got any doubt. I didn't think that. I knew they weren't going to be quicker off the restart, but it was a case of if they were going to become quicker. And it's the case of, do you come in if you're the leaders? The answer is obviously no, because we've only got 2 laps left. But will Jerry be able to get potentially a podium, or I don't think he's going to get a win because of just how far ahead Jix and Kevin are. But he could easily get a podium here just based on how good his tyres are. NLC, I think, has damage of some sort. There's no way he's that slow just on normal pace. Or he's just completely lost his confidence, which is an easily possible outcome as well. As that's another wobble from Cesar, and that's all Jerry needed to go through P6. Jix is right on the back of Kevin now, although he has used a lot of ERS. He's right on the back of that Red Bull. He could easily send a kamikaze move into one of these unexpected corners. But no, he makes a mistake off the exit of turn 5, and that could be the end of his challenge for the lead. Toto gets a 3-second time penalty. That's another one, so he's going to be 6 seconds down. Jerry's into the top 5 or the top 4 just based on penalties, and he's going up the inside of Remus. Kane doesn't make the move work, but Remus goes over the curbs. That would make him struggle on the exit. Jerry's stuck behind. Jerry could easily get a podium here if he just keeps it together and makes these sensible moves. He has a fuck ton of ERS, so he can just power through, or try to anyway. He's not using that ERS though, which is hampering, is stopping him from being able to get good exits. Because the guys in front of him are just spamming ERS to keep in front of him. Go on, he's on the inside, leaving the room, Remus. Remus does leave him the room, tries to keep on the inside. Oh, well, that was close. Come on, Jerry, just use the ERS off the exit of the corner. Yep, he's going to do it. He's now up into the top 5. He's got 2 seconds to gain on White Panther to get P4. He's already getting the top 4 at this rate. He's doing such a good job by just keeping it on the road. Oh, gets a bit of a snopper oversteer, but he's getting 3/10 through that one corner. The Inters are definitely the faster tyre right now. If this race had been a lap longer, we're definitely going to see him get on the podium. But can he get on the podium anyway? He is burning through that ERS. White Panther is aware of the threat behind. But can Jerry do the magic? Can he do an amazing performance here? Because it was his choice to go on to the intermediates. I said I thought it wasn't going to work, but he's showing that it can. He's gained so much on White Panther. White Panther is struggling so much. All he needs to do is just keep behind and go and make a sensible move into one of these corners. Probably the next corner, the next right-hander after this one coming up. Rajic loses the back end, and Rajic's in. But we're going to keep with this battle for 5th place. Oh, he's just too cautious. You need to send it, man. You can't just hope that the guy next to you is going to be nice. Look, he's just being way too cautious. Kevin has won the race. Jix is 2nd. Toto will come home in 3rd on track. Jerry's trying to take the position on the final corner of the race. Will he manage to do it? Can he do it coming to the line? He's done it! Jerry's going to get on the podium! It's P3 for Jerry! What a race from him! He took the gamble at the end, and it paid off for him. What a drive from the AlphaTauri man. And NLC could have been up there with him, but NLC made the mistake. I didn't have much faith in Jerry, but now that was a very mature drive. Even if he wasn't the fastest, and just charging through the pack, he was sensible, had calculated moves, and just managed to get just as much. He managed to get the maximum result he could from the race. So, Kevin, the winner. Obviously, we didn't see him going across. Or I didn't see him going across the line because I was too busy commentating on Jerry fighting with the Red Bull. But the Red Bull's teammate, Kevin, has won. Him and Jix were on another level today. They were so much quicker than everyone else. About two or 3 seconds quicker than anyone else. Which is a crazy thing to think about. But Jerry takes P3. What a race from him. Then White Panther is in P4, a 10th behind, loses out on the podium. Cesar in 5th, followed by Toro, NLC, Rajic, Remus and Ozan completing the points tallies. Han and Squirter were a lap behind, followed by Calmac, who retired, along with James, who also retired, Epic Gaming Mango, Dwayne, Henry Royal, Fuzzy, Don't Play Zero, and Sny, who round out the thing. And I think we're going to get ready to go into the interview pen. I'm going to quickly go into that now so we can see and talk to the guys who were victorious or second or third. Right, so we have Martin, we've got Jix, and we have Kevin. We're going to wait for Jerry to get in. Obviously, the surprise right at the end there. Hopefully, we'll be able to see him get into the thing. But if not, that'll be a big shame because it was. I think that is the story of the race. Jerry getting P3 when he's never usually in and around those top positions. Oh, we're going to start with Kevin. Okay, so instead of going from third to first, today we're going to go from first to third. So Kevin obviously managed to win that race, and you led throughout the entire length of all of it, really. How was it for you out there?
It was really tricky, the rain. I almost spun twice, I think, and but Jix made my life really hard because he was in my in 1 second the almost whole race. But it's impossible to overtake around here, especially in the wet. So yeah.
So there were times where Jix was right behind you, but kept making little errors that just kept him behind. Were you constantly just breathing sighs of relief when you saw that gap go from like 2 tenths to 4 tenths to 6 tenths, then back to 2 tenths?
Yes, definitely.
I'm trying to think of any other questions I can ask you. So, did the constant safety cars and the crashes from other drivers that kept pegging your advantages back to the chasing pack, did that put you off, or were you just or did you just know that because you were so much quicker, you and Jix were so much quicker than the rest of the pack, did you just not worry and just keep the battle between yourselves?
No, I think we were in control. We were so much quicker, as you said. But I got one disconnection one time. That was a bit worrying, but
it wasn't the safety car. I saw that.
Yeah,
I'm trying to...
I got in time, so I'm happy.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else. So, how does that help your championship battle then? Let me just have a look at the championship standings. Obviously, you were leading going into the race, and now it's going to extend your gap, even with Jix coming in right behind. Does that give you a bit of a buffer now, so you know you can make a few mistakes?
Yeah, definitely. And I also got poles, so I got also points for that. So yeah, I'm happy with that.
Yeah, so I think that covers our questions to you then, Kevin. I think we're going to move on to our second place man, Jix now. How was the race from your perspective, mate?
Yeah, it was hard in turn one. I don't know what happened, but I think Rimas Row just hit me into the back, so that put me on the back foot and some work to do. Yeah, from there on, I think yeah, I made the right strategy call. I knew the rain is gonna hit fast, but I didn't know to go for the soft or medium at the beginning. But yeah, it doesn't really matter because in lap 2, I think already it was raining. But yeah, I was P16. Yeah, it's really hard to overtake here on this track. Made the right strategy call to immediately go for the wets. And yeah, I think I was straight up going to P2 again because of that move. Yeah, from there on, it was hard to overtake Kevin. Kevin was sometimes lucky with the safety cars because he was on the inters, I was on the wets, I was closing, and then the safety car come out. So I didn't have track position. Yeah, and every time I was really close and trying almost to go for a move, there was a safety car. So luck wasn't on my side, but he drove an amazing race, made almost 0 mistakes. So I tried to push him into a mistake to keep the pressure high, but it didn't work. So yeah, congrats to him.
One thing I did spot when I was watching both of your two's onboards is that you were being a lot more aggressive and you were getting a lot more slidey off the exit of corners, and that made you more pertinent to mistakes. Did you spot that as well, or do you think that if you'd have maybe smoothed out your style, you could have had a better chance of a race win?
Yeah, well, it made it really hard because Hungary is already in a hard track to overtake with full wets, no DRS, no advantage of tire. It's really hard to overtake someone who is your own pace. And yeah, every time I was in 410s, 510s, you always get that so much dirty air that always you get a moment. It doesn't matter how hard you press the throttle. Every time it was different. If I was in 610s, I could have gone early on the throttle. When I was closer, every time it's changed it. So yeah, it was really hard to nail the exit every time. And yeah, I just tried to push him into a mistake. And sometimes I was a little bit too aggressive. Yeah, made some more mistakes, but yeah, that's how it works sometimes.
Yeah, and lastly, do you think, because obviously we saw Jerry making up a ton of positions right at the end, do you think if you'd gone to the Inters, you could have maybe won the race?
Yeah, I was really when the last safety car came out, I really was thinking about going to the Inters, but I didn't want to make myself vulnerable to the people who are behind me. And I was trying to keep the pressure up on Kevin and hoped he made the mistake. So yeah, I could have gone for the Inters. The Inters was probably the best move. But yeah, it's hard to guess. It's really 50-50 there.
Yeah. Unfortunately, now we haven't got Jerry in the voice chat. I don't know if he's going to be joining at any point. I think he's, in fact, he's not already in. He's not going to be joining. That's unfortunate. Because he was the guy. No offense to you two, but he was the guy I wanted to talk to most after that amazing run right at the end. That's a real shame that we haven't got to talk to him. But I think with that, I think that concludes the interviews and the coverage for today's VDRL stream, doesn't it? Then, thank you two for doing these interviews, and thank you, Martin, for providing the stream. Do you want to? Are we going to end it now? Okay, right. Yeah, all that stuff, all that jibber jabber.